It's a beautiful evening here in Nice in the French Riviera. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist, and this is our second to last stop before we go off back to the States. Yep, the best of Western Europe summer 2022 is coming to an end, and I wanted to share with you at least one live video of beautiful Nice at night. I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist. This is a beautiful city at night. There's a lot of great architecture to admire and to marvel at. And also, there's the gorgeous boardwalk. So let's go through a little bit of the old town, but mostly explore the boardwalk and the huge buildings constructed during the Belle Epoque, the era of French culture where it flourished, similar to in the US that we had the Gilded Age. So join me for a walk through Nice at night. Chris says, ooh, so nice. Yes, it's going to be very nice here at Nice. Hello, Mika. Hello, Doreen. Hello, Carol. Hello, Kay. Nice to see you here. Hello, Marianne. Loves this. I'm so glad. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Thomas. Slam that like button right now. Let me know where you're watching from. Let's finish off the French Riviera with a bang. This is a very popular ramen spot in the middle of Nice, which is so funny. Very famous. We got a nice. Doreen says, you look so tan. Yes, that is what tends to happen when people visit the French Riviera. Oh, I love this scene right here. Hello, Leslie says, best vacation ever. I'm so glad you think so. Oh, look at these lights. Ooh. Thomas from Oregon. Nice to see you here. Hello, Julianne. So glad I could share with you a nice night stream at Nice. Sophie says this is Le Vieux Nice. Yes, the old Nice. Le Vieux Nice in French. Beautiful restaurants here. Really, Old Nice is a great place to dine. I'll show you the restaurant that I really enjoyed. I'll be posting a short video of it very soon. Chris, you were in Nice 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's nice. Mr. Bott says, getting Nice at night. Yeah, to me, Nice at night reminds me of the same pun that they use in the channel Nickelodeon in the US. At night, especially Friday nights and Saturday nights, they had like a slate of shows that were a little bit more adolescent oriented as opposed to kid oriented, and they were called Nick at Night, which I found very humorous. Hello, Nebul says, I love Nice. Yes, Nice is very beautiful. Very beautiful area of Nice. It reminds me of Le Marais a lot. There is a place here called Petit Marais, but Marais, if people don't know, it's the area of Paris that is among the oldest. It's the one that really wasn't redeveloped along the rest of Paris in the mid-1800s by Eugene Haussmann. This, to me, is very similar to Marais in that context. While the rest of Nice actually looks a lot like Paris, too, but looks like the new Paris. Or at least the Paris from the mid-1800s. Sally says, I love Saint-Tropez. I'm so glad you love Saint-Tropez. That was amazing. Nexa says it kind of has a look to the Latin Quarter as well. Yeah, you're right. Rain says, you're just so lucky to just up and travel. Indeed, yeah. Yeah, I do consider myself lucky. Chris says, did you try the Soca? I have an entire live stream with Soca. Check it out. It was me featuring Nebul, who's a local Niçois, currently based nearby at Saint-Maxime. And I absolutely have a blast. So this was the restaurant I recommend, La Escalinada. I had an amazing pasta dish with beef stew, which is really interesting. It's a classic Niçois beef stew accompanied with pasta. One of the best beef stews I've tried. I'm going to post a video of it soon, so stay tuned. But it's called La Escalinata because it's on the staircase right here. Look at that. It's a beautiful staircase. Dre Day, thank you so much for tuning in. I have people who have messaged out to me. I don't usually respond to all messages. I appreciate people who reach out. I do tend to disconnect after these live videos and do other things or focus on the research or editing. But I do appreciate people who are reaching out. And Dre Day, thank you so much for reaching out. Dre Day asks, how often do I film and travel? Travel quite significantly. I mean, my business, my entertainment, my art, Urbanist, what I do on TikTok as well, is based on travel, based on exploration. So I travel as often as I can. And 2022, I've done a lot of trips. Maybe we should count them. Let me know. Name the trips. I've done them in stints of like 1 to 2 months each. Gordon says, Ariel Vieira in the French Riviera doing the video of Nice at night. Indeed, there's a lot of alliteration here. So the place to get your beer and your soca, in my opinion, is this one here in the Old Town. I really love this place. They're already closing up their food area, but they have great beer here. My #1 recommendation for the beer, I'll be actually pointing it out. I just enjoyed a very good beer here too while editing the TikTok. Is this one. This one's my #1 recommendation. It's called Mouta Clara. Mouta Clara. And it's a amber, and it says bio, which means organic. So it's a amber organic ale or beer. Really, really good. You might find it in a few of the supermarkets as well, or definitely the beer shops, and a few of the bars have them. But this is from the south of France. Oh, so good. One of the best beers I've ever had in my entire trip, along with the Belgian Trappist beers. Ariel Vieira, hey, my dad is tuning in. Send 500 stars. Thank you so much for the 500 stars. Quinton says, great content. I love the random facts. I'm so glad you love the random facts. Thank you, thank you. Kay says, star party time. Ooh, we got a star party going on? That's awesome. Thank you so much for the stars and for the party. Jay, hey, nice to see you here. Welcome. Sebastian says, are you going back to New York? You know, BBC has not called me up. I was already expecting the BBC to call me up already with an offer to make a show in Europe and for them to sponsor my visa here and the UK as well. But no word of them yet, and it's a bit disappointing. So as of right now, in order to avoid overextending my visa, I do have to go back to New York. It's a pretty tough predicament. Doreen says, I love beer from other countries. Yeah, not every country, in my opinion, makes good beer, but the French have a few gems. Belgium, of course, was the king of beers. Britain, England, I love their beers as well. And Ireland too. Kathy says, was that your dad sending 500 stars? Yes, indeed it was, yes. Same name as me, yes. Ariel Vieira II. We come from a long royal family line. People don't know, but Puerto Rico has a, has a royal family. Nexus says, can you go to England and reset your visa that way? I think I can, yeah. I think that is a way. I gotta actually do more research into visas, but I think that is a way. Yeah, that is a way. And then I think in Ireland, technically an American can spend 6 months in Ireland. So yeah, there are ways to work around visas. That's for sure. It's not a hopeless case. Here are a lot of the brasseries all around here. Ron says the Riviera family crest is a gimbal. Hey, Smart Life, nice to see you here. French food is exceptional, says Blanche. Oh yes, it is. I'm going to make some French food at home. I got a nice steak, different cut this time. I don't know the name of the cut, but it's a very, very tender cut. Not filet mignon, but a different one. I have one waiting at home. It cost me a lot of money. It was like a $15 piece of steak this big, which is pretty expensive here. And then I got some potato dauphin. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but the potatoes with the cheese. And yeah, a few other ingredients waiting for me at home. Let me show you more of the square. Michelle says Southern Ireland is still in Europe. Yeah, but Ireland has a deal with America, so people who go to the Republic of Ireland, from what I've heard, can stay 6 months in the Republic of Ireland. The visa is a bit longer in Republic of Ireland. And there's also some other things that happen with Denmark. So actually, it's not just all the same across the EU. Nebul, right. Plus Garibaldi, thank you so much. B. Chris says, is it only 90 days? You know, I actually don't know all the full details of visas. So, no, I don't know. Chris, that's a great question. How often do the 90 days reset? Don't know. That's a good question. Kay says, yeah, you can stay 6 months. Yeah, so Americans can stay 6 months in the Republic of Ireland, which is part of the EU. Same thing with the Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. Same 6 month rule applies. No, I'm a bit disoriented, and I want to find my way to the boardwalk, which I think has to be this direction. I gotta find my way to the boardwalk. So if anyone knows, Nebul, which way is it to the boardwalk? Nebul says, how long can Americans stay in France? 3 months. In France and most of the EU. I'm gonna go this way. This way. Ab says, I have a funny dare for you. Ab, this is the wrong type of live stream. You have to go to another live streamer for that type of content. This is a serious show. Doreen says beautiful trees. Yeah, very beautiful trees. Very beautiful trees. Johnny West says, is this live? Yes, it is. It is indeed live. Oh, yes. Patricia says, bienvenue, Nice. Yes, so happy to be here in Nice. It's such a gorgeous place. Such a gorgeous area. Kayak says, Nice is beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Nika says, can you ever see the Milky Way? No, too much light pollution still in Nice, so you can't see the Milky Way. So we're backtracking a little bit. I actually should have checked the directions beforehand. I thought I would see the boardwalk from here, but I think the boardwalk is further down. Leslie says, this is the best trip in my opinion. I'm so glad you think so. This is the tram. There's one that passes underground and one that passes overground. Brian says, oh my God, I love trams. Yeah, me too. I wish we had them in New York. I don't know why they don't even consider trams. They're so cheap compared to subways to build, compared to rail. They're so cheap. More Soca places. Oh, we passed this place. Mika says, I'm a bit sad because today I left Nice. It was a fantastic summer vacation in Provence and Nice and the Côte d'Azur. It was fun meeting you in person. Yeah, Mika, I'm glad you enjoy your trip. Yeah, it's always bittersweet to leave. The subways look clean and safe. Yi Li Hall says trams are much more dangerous. Really does depend. I don't think they're as dangerous. I don't hear of danger with trams. They pass so slow generally. They're not fast enough to really kill someone out of nowhere. You would have to be very reckless, or unfortunately without the ability to see or hear. If either, then yeah, that might affect the chances of being hit by a tram, but I doubt that happens often. It's not like the huge railroads that used to pass through New York City. Those were much bigger machines. They were had much more machinery. B. Chris says Edinburgh's tram network is only 10 miles and it costs 1.1 billion. Wow, they spend a lot in Edinburgh. I'm surprised. Doreen says you've never been to New York. Doreen, you've been watching me long enough. Of course you know I know. Been to New York. He says a few people have been hit by trams in Dublin. Oh, that's so sad to hear. Nexus says, the day I discovered Genever gin, I was almost hit by a tram in Amsterdam. Yeah, I mean, to be under the influence can do that to you. Being under the influence can really do that to you. How does Nice smell like at night? It smells salty. You know, you do smell the saltiness of the sea, which is very interesting. Catherine says, are you still American? It'll take a long... It's not that easy to lose your American citizenship. It's something that fortunately stays with you. So, no, yes, I am still American after all this time in Europe. Some of the most influential Americans have spent significant time in Europe. Susie says, are you looking forward to fall? Kind of. A little bit, not too much. Wow, beautiful building here, down there. Johnny says, how did you get to Nice? By train or air? Train from bus and train from Chamonix. Actually, no, I came from Avignon. So Avignon, I came via train direct. Jason says, why we look forward to falling? No, Susie was asking about the season of autumn. Rain says, did you buy anything on your travels? Yes, a lot. I had to send things back. I spent 125 euro for a box that weighed about 7 kg, which is about 15 pounds, of books and other souvenirs back home. So yeah, shipping can get expensive. France luckily has good prices compared to, like, say, Denmark. Denmark is insane prices. But yeah, do watch out. Yeah, shipping things could get rather expensive. Millie says, so beautiful. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. Beaker says, how long you been in Europe? 3 full months. I left in June 1st, May 31st. I left 3 months. Johnny West says the euro is on par with the dollar. It is, yeah, it is. So as an American, it feels really good. Really good here. Hey, Evelyn says, qué bueno que verte en vivo. ¿Es Francia un país seguro también por la noche? Evelyn says, nice to see you live. Is France a safe place at night? Depende de donde tú estás en Francia. No todo área en Francia son tan seguro. It depends where you're in France. Not all areas in France are secure. Pero aquí en la Riviera de Francia, en el sur, es bien seguro. Me siento bien seguro aquí. Aquí hay mucho menos personas que... Claro, tú sabes, aquí no hay tantas personas que están sin casa. So se siente más seguro. Se siente más seguro. So French Riviera, almost all the other places in France, French Riviera and Chamonix both feel very safe. There's not that many odd people hanging around, especially in the touristy areas. So it is pretty relaxing. Carol says, what do you think is the main difference between Americans and French? I mean, the list goes on, and yeah, it's a long list. There's many differences. Many differences. running towards the tram. One thing I really like about trams, so I'll answer that question about the differences. It's a big question, so I'll give you 3 examples. But before I do, trams, look at this. There's grass on the tram tracks. So awesome. This is really the coolest thing ever, I think. This is what we need more in New York City and in other major cities around the US. Alex says, do you feel safer walking around Europe or New York City? New York City does not really have pickpockets. Yes, your pocket may be picked, but there's not really that many hits. I'm not sure why. I'm very curious as to why that criminal element does not exist in New York City. But unfortunately in Europe, there is, especially in France. So I do feel a little bit more fearful for my pocket, a bit more aware of my pockets and my bags and how I'm holding them. But aside from that, I feel pretty safe in Nice. I felt very safe in Chamonix. And in Paris, I feel very safe as well. Paris, the only thing I fear more, or I'm aware more, cautious about, is my pockets, my wallet, my bag. But I feel more calm walking the streets of Paris, for example. And of course, many other parts of France, because as I mentioned, there's not that many weird people. Problem with New York, you might not have pickpockets, but you have weird people. You have really, really odd people in the streets. Who scream, who yell very nasty things. Mentally unstable people in the streets, unfortunately, in New York. So that's the big difference. Jason says, are you going to visit Monaco? Yep, I already did. Check out those live videos. And someone asked the differences between New York and American and French cultures. The French, one difference is there's not polite smiling in France like there is in the US. Politeness is acknowledging people, saying bonjour, bonsoir, depends on the time of day. Politeness is also saying please and thank you, and a lot of it. But it's not in the form of smiling or a sweeter disposition or casualness like you might encounter in America. So the other difference is in France, there's a more bigger appetite for intellectual discourse, which you don't see as much in America. France is a bit more skewed that way. It's similar to England, where more people want to discuss history, want to discuss politics, maybe on a deeper level. They want to discuss culture. And that also applies to food. There's a bit more of a deeper discourse about food than you will encounter in the US. But of course, the US and France are both not homogeneous, so you gotta take that into account. I'm generalizing on both accounts. Hey, Laura dice, estupendo recorrido. Gracias por compartir tus experiencias. Aprecio las belas imágenes y tus comentarios. Saludos del Ciudad de México. Ah, qué bien, Laura. Laura says, thank you so much for your live videos and the beautiful views of France, watching from the city of Mexico. Qué bien, Laura. Soy bien agradecido que te está encantando estos videos y estos recorridos por Europa. Son áreas bien bellas. Y tú sabes que yo a mí me ha recordado mucho de Ciudad de México, especialmente aquí en Francia, en buenas razones. Hay arquitectura bien similar y tú sabes, la belleza de Ciudad de México es similar a la belleza que está aquí en Europa. So I'm so glad you enjoyed my live videos, and the beauty that I see here in Europe, especially in France, is something that reminds me a lot of Mexico City too. Doreen says, are there other nationalities here that are melting, that's a melting pot? Yeah, France is multicultural, just like New York. So France has a lot of Arabic communities, Morocco, Algeria, Middle Eastern, like Lebanese. And then there is also a lot of more and more Koreans and Chinese. And you have, of course, Japanese have always had some presence here. It's a small presence, but they've had an influence with the ramen, certain Japanese treats. There's very prominent Japanese in some of the more famous restaurants in France. And then there's also a lot of Africans. Do let me know what the countries where people from Africa come from here. Wow. Nibul says also Russian. Yeah, Russian as well. Thank you, Nibul. It is truly multicultural, so you can literally see people from all around the world. But those are the groups that you'll see the most. Johnny West, thank you so much. So there would be mostly Senegal and Cote, the Ivory Coast. Thank you. Alex says also Rwandan. Okay, thank you. Dia says, I enjoy some good nightlife. Yes. All right, now we're in the main strip. This is a gorgeous building. This is an opera right here. Stunning. Carol says, thank you for your travels. My pleasure, Carol. Are we getting a late supper, says Susie. No, I'm making food at home. Susie says, have you been to the cinema? Susie, that is an excellent question. I used to not go to the cinema when I would travel. But since I've been traveling for longer stints, that are longer than 2 weeks, so a month, I've been going more and more to the cinema when traveling around. And then the other aspect is there's certain cities that have really cool cinemas that are worth going for the sake of seeing their beauty and their interesting architecture. So I went to the amazing cinema in Amsterdam. Check that out. Gorgeous cinema, the Tuschinski cinema, I think it was called. Gorgeous cinema, mind-blowingly beautiful. Very similar to what New York cinemas used to look like, with the grand architecture influenced by other much older cultures. And then I've been to a cinema in France already twice. Been to 2 different cinemas in France. I've been to one in Paris. I saw Top Gun Maverick. And in many parts of Europe, including France, including the Scandinavian countries as well, they play films in English, and then they have subtitles in the local language. In this case, it would be French. So I saw Top Gun. I saw it in the more modern cinema, so it wasn't too interesting, that cinema. But then I recently saw 3,000 Years of Longing here in Nice in a cinema called the Rialto. And the Rialto is a classic style cinema. It's probably built in the 60s or something like that, maybe even in the 50s. And it has a really, really old school feel to it. No reserved seating, no stadium seating. The seats are like classic cinemas prior to all the new developments that happened in the past 20 years. It was really, really cool going to that cinema. And it was not so full, so it felt like what you would see in those films where someone would go to the cinema, it's barely anyone there. And then I also went to a cinema in Denmark. That one was modern in a cool way, very similar to Alamo Drafthouse, similar to those modern theaters in New York City, the Nighthawk Theater. And pretty much that's it. Paris also has other cinemas that are very tiny. I wish I would have gone to those. They're very tiny. Those ones are in an area called the Odeon that has some really, really classic, very art house films. Let me check out this church. Mohammed says, honestly, your photography is amazing. Oh, I'm so glad. You think so? Do you watch the show?
Great. Yes.
You do? Oh, hey.
Every day.
What's your names?
Yvonne and Douwe.
Yvonne and Douwe.
Rotterdam.
Oh, you're from Rotterdam? You're Dutch viewers. Oh, that's so cool. And you're traveling to the Côte d'Azur?
Yes, here in Nice.
Do you live here or travel?
Travel.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, beautiful.
When do you start seeing the show?
Oh, in New York and.
Oh, okay, before I went to Volendam.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did a short video of Volendam. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. We watched you to New York when you're walking there.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. What's your favorite part so far of the French Riviera? What's your favorite part? Mont Blanc. Oh, really?
Yes, I was to Chamonix.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
oh
Yes.
that's, thank you again so much for watching. And Thank you
Yeah.
so much for saying hello.
Yeah.
Have a great
Yeah.
night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye.
All right, shout out to the lovely couple from Volendam in Netherlands, Dutch viewers. Traveling also here to the Côte d'Azur. They were so lovely. Volendam I actually covered in a short video. I didn't do a live video, but I covered in a short video on TikTok and Facebook. Check that out. But yeah, really cool to meet them. That's awesome. Don Giovanni, I think they say Volendam, not Rotterdam. Volendam, which is about 30 minutes away from Amsterdam. Lex says, you're spending so much time in France this summer. I hated the fact that you had such a bad experience with the guy in the subway in Stockholm. I wish I would spend more time in Sweden. But the guy in the subway in Stockholm, if people don't know, I was yelled at by a random person in the Stockholm subway. Completely uncalled for and completely unreasonably aggressive. But that did not cause me to not spend that much time in Stockholm. That's the only time I spent time in Stockholm. That was what I planned originally. Was only 1 week. But Sweden is interesting. It's definitely very interesting. I had a very interesting time in Sweden. Aside from that, it's a very interesting history. Sweden, probably the more interesting history I've bumped into this entire trip. Quentin says, what were you yelled for? You can check out that video, but the man yelled at me because I was filming in the subway. He was not any public official or anything. And I was not filming him at all. So it was just completely uncalled for. Diaz says, oh, that came to a super chat marathon. It did indeed, so thank you everyone so much for the super chats. Beautiful area. Let's cross the street over here. Catherine says, sounds like he was jealous. No, I think he was involved in criminal activity and was very, very suspicious. Susie says you should make a book of all your work of the travels. You know, I have no idea what type of book I would even write about traveling. I do like to write. You can read my Instagrams. Ariel Vera. The Ariel Vera is my Instagram handle. Leslie says, hey, you will find sparkling water on the right side of the water fountain of the park. What? Right side of the water fountain of the park. Okay. Hey, slash. Says, unfortunately, I can't travel because of the war. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope things get peaceful again. But I'm glad I can show you some travel while you're hunkering down, as things are pretty rough over there in your part of the world. Kayak says, can you tell us about the fountain? I don't know much about the fountain or at all. But the fountain on its head, for some reason, appears to have 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That's what it looks like. It's the Fountain of the Soleil, so the Fountain of the Sun, says Chris. Thank you so much. Why does it have the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse on its head? Lex says, will you be traveling to Portugal? I'm finding a lot of people are traveling here because it's cheaper. Susan said 500 stars. Thank you so much. The French have art in many forms. Their blood, in their blood, says they're artists. They take great pride in it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Peggy says it's actually the Greek god Apollo. Is it? Chris says that's Apollo. Okay. Thank you. Rain says, will you ever travel with one of your viewers? I've featured people who watch my show who I've went to their area, so you can watch those episodes. That's always fun. But no, I don't offer group tours or anything like that. So Chris says when it was built, that statue of Apollo we just saw, his private parts were too big and the town asked it to make it smaller. Oh no. That's funny. Thank you so much for the extra tidbit, Chris. I appreciate that. Hello, Veronique. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Sarah says, I liked and enjoyed. I'm so glad you did. Sarah says, is today a cooking show? No, no, just walking around, enjoying the sights, working up an appetite before I go back home and cook that $15 steak. Oh, there is the hill that we walked the other day. Looks like a painting. I learned that from shows that I listen to, tour guides. That's amazing. You know, I couldn't find too much history content about Nice on YouTube. There was a little bit of it in French, but I don't know French, so it was a bit hard to watch. Next it says, if you like black licorice, you might want to check out Recollecting ice cream. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for the pro tip. Lex says, I loved your interview with the lady in New York City who does tours of New York City. Her energy was coming through the screen. I've done a few tours with women who do tours in New York City. I wonder which one you're talking about. Are you talking about Patriot Tours, the woman who does Karen Quiñones, who dresses up in colonial garbs? She's really good. Yes, I really like her. My friend Chiara is awesome as well. She's catered towards Italian tourists because she's herself Italian. Oh, Cindy says it was Megan. Yeah, Megan, another great tour guide. Really, really great tour guide. I feature many, many amazing tour guides in New York. There's a very large list. Brett says, does French food do well in New York City? It does, yeah. New York City. New York City is in general in the U.S. Typically high-end cuisine is typically French. So and it's also very stereotypically French. So whenever you see a film of a couple going on a date, and they're going to a high-end restaurant, it's usually a French restaurant. And some of the highest rated restaurants in New York City are actually French or run by French chefs. Leslie says, are you ready planning a return visit? No, not to France, not necessarily. I really love France, but I'm excited to visit new places. Have you worked with Tom? No, I briefly met him once. I have not worked with Tom DNYC Nexus. Chris says, do you think you ever toured Germany? Germany is one place I would dedicate an entire trip to. Germany's big, so yeah, it will require at least a month in Germany. Big Chris is heading to Berlin tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome. Susie says, I think the beach is better at night. Yes, a lot of people hang out down in the beach. Some people hang out in the pure darkness. There's no light here, but there's people here, right, in the pure darkness. Susan says, have you been to Austria? No, not yet. Austria is on my list. Austria and Germany. The reason you're seeing a lot of twinkling lights in the sky is because the airport is down that way. That must be a hint where you're going next, says Walter. Vanessa says, lived in Germany for 5 years. Beautiful country. Yeah, Germany's gorgeous from what I've seen. I haven't been there yet. Do you need another 3 months in Germany, a month of Austria, and a month in Switzerland? Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I could, yeah. Dr. Tachi, was it Dr. Tachi left a super chat? Dr. Tachi says, I enjoy the moonlight snack. I'm so glad you're enjoying the moonlight. Thank you so much for tuning in, Dr. Tachi. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well in Florida. Hope all is well. Brett says, I always find it easier to sleep by the seaside. Oh, really? That's cool. Which country has struck you the most? Asks Lex, with the most number of citizens with higher education. Was it Sweden? That's a tough question. I would say, Lex, if you're asking more, which country is the more intellectual? That's a very good question. I think there's various ways you can answer that question. I would say the country that has the most eloquence is Denmark. In English. I mean, those guys speak English and very formally as well. But you know, intelligence or is all, there's very different facets of intelligence. I don't know the languages of French or the other countries I visited, like Italy or Greece, so I can't really judge about the intellectual discourse or wittiness of jokes. I can't really attest to that. But from English-speaking countries, I think one of the wittiest countries is the UK and Ireland. They're all kind of up there in terms of wittiness. Andy says, my name is Andrew. Okay, Andrew, thank you so much for tuning in. Susie says this is a giant chair. Yeah, 2D though. Sorry, people playing music. Is that a lawn chair? Those are the famous blue chairs of Nice. So they have blue chairs along the waterfront here in Nice. And we'll probably see a few. But that's like a artwork commemorating those famous blue chairs. Been here for many decades. Miko says, this place has been very different for me because of the unfortunate attack. Yeah, Nice was the victim of a terrible, terrible attack. It's very, very, very sad to hear, yeah. Han says, time for some ice cream? No, I got home. Ready to cook. How warm is this, says Miko? It's about 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 79. Pretty warm. No need for a sweater at all. And there's really no breeze right now. You're giving me several places to put on my list, says Dr. Tachi. I'm so glad. That's awesome to hear. The moon is so pretty. It really is, yeah. It's a gorgeous moon. Good moon here in Nice. This was a super stroll, says Catherine. I'm so glad. I'll show you a little bit more of the buildings here on the boardwalk. For about 30 more minutes or so. Looks like there's no holiday in France now. Yep. Grant, yeah. Basically the vacations for French have ended. So a lot of people are back at school, people are back at work, people have opened up their businesses again. Finally, boulangeries and boucheries and traiteurs and restaurants and bistros are open again in other parts of France. So I have one more stop here in France. So I'm so excited to continue eating the best boulangeries. Oh, someone's playing music. So right now we're walking at the Promenade des Anglais, the Promenade of the English. That's because a lot of English were here back since the late 1700s, but definitely in the late 1800s they started coming here in droves. Catherine says, what's for eats tonight? I'm eating fancy steak, $15 steak. I bought the butchery, top quality. Smothered in herbs de Provence. I got some potatoes with cheese. Gratin d'affonet, I don't know how to pronounce it. And some baguette as well as some rosé. Yeah. Nebu says Hotel Marianne, yeah. And now we're starting to see the casinos. Casino Rule. B. Chris says that's because it rains 300 days here in England. Yeah, it's 300 days of sun here in the Côte d'Azur. MK says, how do you compare Santorini, Greece with Saint-Tropez in terms of luxury, views, and costs? Costs are about the same. I don't know about staying in Saint-Tropez. I had not researched hotels there. Santorini is unbeatable in terms of its majesty, in terms of its...
I'm not saying that he really was so good.
And there you can hear the English accents. In terms of its mythical beauty, it's unbeatable. There's very few places on earth that will compare to Santorini. The knowledge that it was a huge volcano that exploded, turned into a massive lagoon in the middle of the Aegean Sea, with some of the most interesting sunsets that you'll see, because the Aegean Sea kind of has interesting quality when it comes to sunsets. It's unbeatable. I think that's why people really don't talk about the sunsets in the Côte d'Azur. They're really not prominent as it is in Santorini. So I think it's almost incomparable to say Santorini compares to any other destination in the sea, right by the sea. Very few, I think, in the world. Probably in the Pacific as well, but very few in the world. And it's interesting, the Côte d'Azur, I have not heard too many people talk about sunsets here. So I don't think it's one of the top things that people actually seek out. Ron says, do the dogs bark in the French way? Yeah, they have a little bit of an accent. You know, it's similar to Paris, for example. Paris, which was the first stop on this trip. If you were to compare Paris directly to New York City, again, it's incomparable. Both of them have that super magical quality, and each of them are in a different way. But nothing can really compete. You'll be hard-pressed to find many cities in the world that can compete with the utter beauty of architectural beauty of Paris. It is just one of the most romantic cities on earth. Rain says, turn your camera to the right. But Rain, there is no right. No, I'm joking. Sure. Voila. This was one of the bigger Belle Epoque buildings in all of Nice. But unfortunately, there was a terrible fire that destroyed most of the building. So they gutted the building. There's like a huge courtyard now in the middle. The interior is modern, but the exterior luckily has been saved or significantly remodeled. So here we have the Palais de la Méditerranée. Pardon my French. The Palace of the Mediterranean. It's a casino, hotel, everything you ever wanted in one singular. That's why Nice is very interesting when it comes to the boardwalk. You do kind of get like a little bit of Miami, a little bit of the grandeur of Vegas. You know, before there ever was a Vegas, there was Nice. Uh-oh, we got popular music playing. Be right back. Okay, music is, I think we're moving away from it. I have a lot of bonus content to post. So if you want to see more bonus videos of France, of Italy, also if you want to get access to the Italian videos from last year, Greece as well. But this trip, Stockholm, Copenhagen, England, Scotland, France, you can go patreon.com/urbanist or press that join button on YouTube, and there you'll get access to those videos, become a super urbanist. And I am still in France for 2 more weeks. So if you want to get a postcard from France, you can become a mega urbanist by pressing the mega urbanist option on Patreon. $20 a month. But you have to do it soon. Otherwise, I'm back in New York City. And you'll get one in New York City. Catherine says, wow, 2 more weeks? Yep, I'm here. Well, a little bit less, 2 more weeks. It's already September 4th, so a little bit less than 2 weeks. All right, so we're gonna walk just all the way to the Negresco. Enjoy the views of the Negresco, which is one of the more famous hotels. I think that's a great place to end. But let me show you a little bit more of the buildings here. Bella says, wow, your travel history is incredible. Yeah, I'm glad you think so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't traveled the world like other YouTubers. You know, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that traveled all across the world. All across. You have Drew Binsky, literally has been to every country on earth. Nas Daily has been to 4 times as many countries as I've been. Vagger Brothers on YouTube. You have a huge list of people who have been to many countries. Bald and Bankrupt as well. But I think I'm one of the few people who have gone deep into Europe. You know, of course there's Rick Steves, but he does guidebooks and documentaries. But I've been able to go deep into Europe via YouTube and TikTok and live videos. So I think one of the few people who've done that. So if you enjoy Europe, I'm so glad you've been enjoying this show. And of course, I've gone very deep into New York City. Very, very deep into New York City. I've done a lot of videos in New York City. And Boston and Washington, D.C. too. Hey, Eugene from the UK. Nice to see you here. Welcome. Hannah Han says, Karen Nat also, yeah. Oh, they're Karen and Nate are awesome vloggers. I really like them. There's Endless Adventure as well. There's a huge list of amazing vloggers out there. But I haven't seen too many that would spend a month in a country in Europe. Some of them may spend a month in Bali. But I've spent months at each country. Ireland, England, Scotland, the UK, France, Italy. Italy was nearly 2 months last summer. I'm loving your summer European video, says Texas. Yeah. Susie said 500 stars. Thank you so much, Susie. I appreciate you for sending the stars and for being a mega urbanist. Thank you so much. Jessica Nabongo. I don't know about Jessica Nabongo. Thank you so much for mentioning her. Jessica Nabongo. I'll check her out. I'm enjoying your European vlogs too, says Ronnie. I'm so glad you are. It is a beautiful, beautiful area of the world. So lots of European countries to explore. There is indeed, B. Chris. There is indeed. There is indeed. I, by no means, I'm trying to cross off a bunch of countries off my list. That's not my intention to travel. I prefer to travel to few places, but go into them deep. Go as deep as possible. That's what I love the most. You can say I'm raw dogging these countries. Wow. Look at this beautiful architecture. Nice is playing Monaco in League One. What's League One? Do let me know, Eugene. I don't know too much about sports. Neboul says, I've enjoyed your French trip. Any chance you could walk into the lobby of the Negresco? That'll be tough, but let me see if I can sneak a peek. Hey, Brett says, I admit, I prefer your videos over others, especially Europe Paris #1. I'm so glad. Roma says, bellissimo. Yes, it is bellissimo. It is beautiful. Roma. Ciao. Thank you so much for tuning in. Han says, I'm looking forward when you go to Japan. Yes, I would love to go to Japan. Japan and Korea, South Korea. Oh, that'll be so cool. I think I'll have a blast in those countries. Very different experience. Probably be a little bit hard too. Japan is a country that I feel like I need like 2 months minimum, because I'm gonna need like a week to get adjusted so I can even go live. Hey, MK says, I appreciate the time you spend and study each area and really embrace the cultures. Yes. I'm so glad you like that, yeah. Marina says, internet is not so good in Japan. Yeah, unfortunately a lot of the live streamers stream only like at 720p. They stream in pretty low quality. It's not the best. Next it says, I worked for a month in Japan. It's a wonderful place. Yes, I can only imagine. One more time, the moon. Look at that. Soon I'll do a live video up there. Soon. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. One small step for Ariel, one giant step for live streaming. Stay tuned. 2035. Please make a chair review. You know how bad I want to sit in one of these blue chairs, but there's too many damn people. I've not found a blue chair that is empty or not that close to someone else. So yeah, unfortunately I won't be doing a review of the blue chairs. You see this section over here? It's very smelly. It's right next to the sewer. I don't think that's fair to do a chair review. This set is the only empty set of blue chairs you'll see because the sewer is right behind it and it smells really bad. Marina says, yes, go to the moon and stream for us. Yes. So this is the Negresco right over here. These damn tourists. The time in Japan right now is 4:33 a.m. Wow, Eugene. Wow, early. We have a few Japanese viewers that tune in from time to time. Ladies and gentlemen, our final stop here, the Negresco. Let's see if we can peek into the lobby. See just a little tad of it. Walter, I love the name. Moon Live. Full Earth Viewing Party. That is a good name. That is a good name. I like that, Walter. Yeah, that'll be the name for the live stream. Seeing Earth in full view. So Robert says it looks like the Bellagio. Yeah, I think I wouldn't doubt that the Bellagio has been inspired by this one, because I shown the, was it an island or was it a peninsula? I forgot exactly what it was, but I show the town of Bellagio in Lake Como. And the town of Bellagio in Lake Como doesn't look too much like the actual Bellagio in Vegas. So I wonder if they used other inspiration. Texas says, are people friendly here? Yes, they are, yeah. So someone said that this was unfortunately commandeered by the Germans. Yeah, it was. Famous restaurant. Let's see the prices. Nebu was telling us that that when you're given the prices, when you're given the menu on the table, they give one menu for men and one menu for the woman. The menu for the man has the prices. That was very interesting. So here, oh, we see it's 110 per person, excluding drinks. To be honest, it's not that bad. If you're dining at the most lavish place in the Côte d'Azur, then might as well spend this 110. It's 220 for 8 courses. 8 courses, but this is the chef's table. 8 courses, 220. Does not include drinks either. So it is expensive, but that is what I spent in Ireland to go to a 2 Michelin star restaurant. I think it was, I forgot what exactly, it was 1 or 2 Michelin stars, but in Ireland I went to a very highly rated Michelin star restaurant. I spent about 200 euro that night. It was really worth it though. It was like 16 courses and like 6 cups of wine. It was a lot. So yeah, this is a bit more expensive than that because they don't include the wine. Bella says, okay, that's really sexist. Well, yeah, Bella, you know, it's the old style of doing things. I think there's a certain charm to it. It's the old style. W says, in the Netherlands, a woman is expected to pay her way. Indeed, but you got to take into account this hotel is trying to pay respect to the old style doing things. Road says, thank you for taking us on your trip. Buenas noches. Oh, I'm so glad. Gracias, Road. Lo agradezco la contribución. Qué bien que te está encantando esto de codidos. So, Road, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. So here's the other menu. So there's 2 different restaurants. This is I think this is called Le Breton, maybe. And this one's a bit cheaper. 55 euro for 3 courses. But you can, which I'm gonna make oh my God. I'm making this at home, ladies and gentlemen. This is 50 euro. I'm not making the sauce though. But I'm basically making everything else. 50 euro. This is what I'm about to eat at home. It's a nice, expensive steak. But I'm spending 20 euro, I think, a little bit more. 23 euro. Grant says, really surprised that the beach closest to the Negresco smells like a sewer. It is, yeah, the sewer's right there. It sucks. I was actually surprised when I noticed that. Wow, so let me know, will you dine here? Kay says, I like the old style. Let me meet. Oh. Me. The parity is $1 for €1. Enjoy your cheap holiday. Here's some extra from a poor European. Hey Miko, thank you so much for the stars. I appreciate that, Miko. Yes, it is good from an American perspective being here. Nebu says, I'm gonna check if the menu is still without the price for a lady today. I'm curious if that practice still continues. That's very interesting. 200 stars, thank you so much, Miko, for your contribution from it's hard times in Europe, I know. I fly to the moon, says Jay. I'm so glad. Maria says, crime in New York City has gone through the roof since you started your vacation. I am not responsible for it at all. I am not involved in vigilante crime fighting at night. I did not take a break from vigilantism. Did not take a break from crime fighting at night. No, I am merely a vlogger. Just merely a vlogger. Hey, Catherine says, yes, I would, and not seeing the price list, I'll order like a crazy one. Yeah, it might be very dangerous if you don't see the price list. Avalon says, in Hong Kong, they sometimes have whereas the locals just have their small plates counted for a lower price. Oh yeah, Hong Kong, yeah, and dim sum, right? In dim sum areas, that's so interesting. But all the Godfathers are gone from New York City currently, says Hans. Maybe, yeah. Walter says, are you Batman? No, not at all. When I go back to New York, if crime goes down, it is merely coincidental, okay? It's merely coincidental. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in here from beautiful Nice at night. I hope you enjoyed it. This was the Negresco. We walked from the old town over to the Negresco. I'm off to make some amazing food at home. Wish me luck as I cook a $15 steak. I've cooked more expensive steaks before. This is a cool car. That's awesome. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Patreon.com/urbanist if you want to get extra content. Like today, I posted a exclusive tour guided of the amazing Stockholm City Hall where they actually have the Nobel Prize celebrations. So if you ever wondered where people win their Nobel Peace Prizes and Science Prizes, well, you can see the full guided tour. It's about 45 minutes long, and you get the full experience. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome, and see you soon at a different place. One last stop in beautiful Paris. We'll be in beautiful, wonderful France. It'll be a wonderful place. Very poetic. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. Au revoir, mes amis.